There's different types of genres, and we're going to discuss defining them. Music genres are the language between listeners and artists. We have these to distinguish them and even mirror what life is outside of a beat or melody. There's different languages, and not everybody speaks them. So in theory, music functions as a bridge for people to get and remain connected with everything that's happened already in the world, and things posed to be. Genres also affect algorithms and the discovery of new music. They classify and categorize what sounds are expected to be heard when you decide to indulge. For example, you might like rock but are open to hearing new music that would fall in that category. Therefore, if you find someone on the radio that prefaces before playing it with a description of soft rock, you're more likely to give it a listen and determine if it's for you. You might even get to the point where you're sold on a specific artist and you like them so much you end up hearing new work from them with another seemingly unrelated artist. That is a scenario when you're dealing with a genre-bending talent. They can merge different sounds and sometimes create something completely new. And from that, it can spawn tons of other projects that would fall under the umbrella of that original work as mentioned before. There's genres that support specific cultures, and what that does is create identity. In many cases, that ends up defining and even inspires fashion as well. That actually relates well to other articles that's made on the site that addresses hip-hop and its influence on fashion. There's even more detail that could be drawn from this point, and where we as consumers, or even artists, that listen to specific genres are telling of what region you would expect to hear the sounds you're experiencing.
Hip-hop, R&B, jazz, classical, soul, and blues. That's just a few stereotypical major music genres. But what about the thing that these DSPs and even some DJs do? I'm talking about creating playlists that serve purpose. It shows in the form results. Some go sleep, relax, energize, studying, so on and so forth. But what some would argue is that this creates completely new experiences and forms a new genre as a result. Music genres don't just appear out of nowhere. Most grow out of certain regions, time periods, or communities. Jazz grew up in New Orleans, shaped by African American musicians mixing blues and ragtime. Hip-hop started in New York City's Bronx in the 1970s, using turntables and rhymes to create a brand new style. Technology and migration have also changed how genres form. For example, electronic music wouldn't have existed without computers and synthesizers, while reggae came from Jamaica and spread thanks to radio play. Country music roots go deep into American folk and gospel music, telling stories about real life and struggles. Each genre has its own flavor, shaped by people's experiences and what was happening in the world in that era. Music genres don't just appear out of nowhere. Most grow out of certain regions, time periods, or communities. Jazz grew up in New Orleans, shaped by African American musicians mixing blues and ragtime. Hip-hop started in New York City's Bronx in the 1970s, using turntables and rhymes to create a brand new style. Technology and migration have also changed how genres form. For example, electronic music wouldn't have existed without computers and synthesizers, while reggae came from Jamaica and spread thanks to radio play. Country music roots go deep into American folk and gospel music, telling stories about real life and struggles. Each genre has its own flavor, shaped by people's experiences and what was happening in the world in that era. The article available may have a few similar or even different suggestions about what's important to keep in mind about genres and tastes. But if there's a single thing that I would suggest, it's remembering that everything has to be acquired for it to work. Nothing works well when it's forced musically. There's so many kinds of genres, and with that stems an even more versatile group of people. These are all personalities that are representative of the music many times. The music becomes a guide for many, especially in their youth. But once the sounds stop, you create your own. You might get challenged with your belief in music, but as you get deeper into your own convictions, you might get to the point where you find things that are bigger than the music you've grown to appreciate. That's the point you grow up. You can turn the music off sometimes and have a simple conversation that stems a much more pleasant sound. We've mentioned how genres can become your identity in many ways, but think about when you're getting a physical ID. There's cases when you have to get them renewed to reflect who you truly are. Music should be looked at the same way. If you want to branch out, here are a few genres that are less common but totally worth a listen. Reggae. Coming from Jamaica, reggae uses steady drum beats and relaxed rhythms. Artists like Bob Marley helped make reggae a worldwide favorite. K-pop. K-pop, which comes from South Korea, mixes pop, hip-hop, electronic, and even rock. Groups like BTS and Blackpink have huge fan bases across the globe. Metal. Heavy metal cranks up the guitars, drums, and vocals for intense, high-energy music. Bands like Metallica and Iron Maiden are pretty famous in this world. Subgenres include death metal, thrash, and symphonic metal. Folk. Folk music uses acoustic instruments and simple melodies. Lyrics often tell stories or share traditions. Artists like Bob Dylan made folk huge in the 60s, and you'll hear folk influences in modern indie music. Latin. Latin music covers a wide range of danceable genres like salsa, reggaeton, and bachata, coming from Latin America and Spain. Artists like Shakira and Bad Bunny blast these sounds worldwide. Thanks for watching. Hope to catch you on the next video.